Well, we want to welcome you back. This is video number 4 that for our mastery workbook classes. We were beginning on page 22, and so gather up your supplies and make sure that your machine is oiled and cleaned and ready to go. So with that, we're going to start on page 22. We're going to
So your supplies, you should have some fabric. Make sure your machine is threaded. You got your 9mm stitch plate in, foot number 1D, dual feed engaged. To start.
remember, whenever you have a dual feed foot on, you always have to engage that.
Or it won't feed right.
And I see something right here.
What?
The big glove.
A goober. There was a goober. Okay.
All right. Okay, you ready? Let's go. All right, Lisa, what we're going to do, we're going to start out with our number 6 stitch on in your utility stitches. The number 6 stitch, what that is a triple stitch. And so if you wanted to use something and do top stitching, instead of using like buttonhole twist thread, you could use the triple stitch and get much of the same effect using just our 50 weight thread.
Okay.
So you're going to set that up. You could use your 10D foot or your 1D foot. The 10D foot, what it has is it has a metal bar going down the center of that foot that will, like if you wanted to run that up against an edge or down the seam like it showed, like on the picture on page 22, you would run that right down the center of that seam and set up your stitching the width that you would want.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and start stitching that. You see how it's reversing? It goes forward, backwards, forwards, backwards. This is a great stitch for top stitching. It's also a great stitch if you're sewing children's clothing in the crotch area
Or armholes.
It makes it really makes a solid, sturdy stitch. All right.
So that's just with 50 weight Orifil.
And so if you use like a 40 weight or...
Oh goodness, yeah.
It's pretty. It's a real pretty stitch.
There's the back side. Yeah. Neat.
Did you know that with the 790, you can go into Stitch Designer and make any stitch a triple stitch?
I actually did know that, but I bet they didn't. Now they do.
Yep, on the 790, you're able to go in on decorative stitches, whatever, and create a triple stitch on it. So it's kind of neat.
A cool function.
Yeah, real neat function.
Okay.
All right, so now let's go to page 23. That's the overlock stitch. That is using this foot right here.
Okay.
The overlock, you can use a universal. The ballpoint or stretch may also be used with it, depending on the kind of fabric that you have. What they're really trying to do is kind of mimic a serged seam. If you don't have a serger, it helps. You know, it does overcast that seam. So you're going to put in your 2A foot. You're going to go to stitch number 3, and you're going to stitch along the edge, lining up the edge of that foot, the inside, the left part of the foot. Line that up so that it's, when you're stitching over, you're going to stitch over the raw edge.
So here's the left side of the foot. Right here. And we're going to line it up so that, oops, I'm a little off, but you get the idea. Right together.
So what it's doing is it's overcasting that raw edge, covering it. Now you can adjust it.
Oh, geez.
What are you doing? Oh,
That would help. Okay, let's try that again. There we go.
what happened is Lisa had forgotten to change her 0mm plate to the 9mm in the settings. So you can see where this could work instead of a serger to at least cover those, see, encase them.
Oh, I went off the reservation. Oh, dear.
All right.
Okay.
So now let's go to the long stitch. Now this is basically a basting is basically what it is. But what you're going to do is on this, you're going to go into your I menu or your information menu. Yeah, change back your foot to the 1D.
She goes so fast I can't keep up. Okay, so I'm back on 1D.
Now go into your information menu.
Okay.
And if you see the scale, there's a set of scales and the stitch right below there.
I'm still on the...
Oh yeah, you need to put in one.
Okay.
Now you're in the information window, and right underneath where the set of scales are, is a long stitch. Touch that, and now go ahead and sew. You want to increase your stitch length to 6. So do that. Okay, now sew. You see how, depending on how far you increase that, it does kind of a tacking for you. If you wanted to, what would we use that for?
Gathering?
Well, that might, to me, that would be a little bit too big for gathering, but it would work. Yeah, it would work. But you can, like you said in the beginning of this, you didn't increase it. So you can choose how far you want that to go, you know, be apart.
And it wasn't gathering before I increased the
Right.
stitch.
So it's just another way of going in, and on that one you're getting a much bigger gather than you would with the just 6mm. If you went in on this just regularly and increased your stitch length. If you go down into the here and do it, you have more of a variation. You can get longer basting stitches. We used to do, to me that would work well when we were doing tacking to mark out a certain stitch width that I wanted when we were making habits and that.
Well, and they're suggesting you use this to baste hems in place.
So it's different. It's more of a tacking down feature down there. All right, so that's your long stitch on page 24. Now let's go to a blind hem. I like to pretend I don't know how to use this foot because I'm always being asked to hem cats.
Yeah.
But it really is a cool foot. You're gonna go out of, close out of your I menu. Oh, turn that off.
There.
No, there you go, yeah. Go into your utility stitch, and I want to say it is a number 9.
Or is it 3?
Nope, it's number 9.
Okay. There.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when you're hemming, what you actually are doing is you're going to fold up the finished where you want it to finish your hemline.
like this. So then when it comes out, the hem will actually be there. So this is on the inside, and we're, ah shoot, I lost it. We're gonna go like that. Okay.
I think that's wrong.
This one.
There you go.
Okay. That's not straight, but you guys are gonna get the idea. Okay.
Now you're gonna butt that metal bar right up against the where the fold is, and you're
Right
a little
here.
bit over on it. You need to be just up against it.
I am. Okay. Where's the
Now-
thread?
What you want to do with this is that you want to take, you just want the swing to just get a couple threads. You don't want a big bite in that. And so you're going to do a little testing on an extra piece of fabric. You got to remember to, well, on the 770 you don't, but on
No.
the other ones you have to remember to change your
Yeah,
foot.
this one you do. Okay,
Think you're good.
go.
Go. Now watch the swing. I think it takes 4 stitches, and then it will do a swing. People use this stitch also for applique work.
Freezer paper applique. This is good for freezer paper applique. And this foot is great for that.
Yeah. Your 10D foot would work too if you had that for freezer paper applique. Do you see how it's just swinging over? If it's not catching enough, then what you would want to do is adjust that swing.
And of course you wouldn't use black thread on your yellow
No,
skirt.
no, because you will see it.
But there we go. So then your hem is there. That's our hem. We got it. That's it.
Right, but this would be on the,
Well, this is the leg. Pretend like that's your, this is the leg. There's your hem. There. So you don't really see, well, that's because I got my fabric doubled.
right.
That's why you don't see it. Even though it's black. But it's in there. Okay.
So that's your blind hem. And
Okay.
And again, there's multiple, especially, you know, if you, with the big book of feet.
I'm gonna cut some of this off because we're getting to where I can't.
Yeah. When you, with the big book of feet, for one stitch, for like this stitch here, this foot, there are multiple things
Here.
that you can do with that foot. Not just,
hem.
there's your hem.
My hem. Okay. We have fresh fabric now. I'm gonna cut this off too. Okay, now what am I doing?
Now we're going to do,
I don't hem people's pants either, by the way.
no,
No.
well, I do
My
one.
ex-mother-in-law, every time she came over, she'd be like, here, can you write? No. Anyway, okay.
Well, you know what I tell Gary? I can't do that.
This machine doesn't do that.
And I just tell him that it stifles my creativity. I'm sorry, I cannot do it. All right, we're gonna go to our automated buttonholes, and this is the coolest thing. So I want you to get your buttonhole foot. I am on page 28.
Oh, you skipped 26 and 27.
Oh, I did, okay. All right, well,
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
yeah, sorry. I would just like to do the buttonholes.
They are cool. We'll do the buttonholes.
Okay, we're going to, you would use a spandex. The stretch stitch is used for knits. And you would, of course, have a knit, a ballpoint or a stretch needle in that, but you are, so you would have that set up a little bit. We're working on wovens. You're going to use stitch number 11. And so let's say you're wanting to mend a pair of spandex pants. This would be the stitch that you would use. You can position it at the 5/8 inch mark on your machine. And go ahead and start sewing. If the fabric is pulling and stretching as it's sewing, adjust the pressure. Do you know where your pressure is, Lisa?
I do.
Can you show them?
Let me get my thing.
Right there. So if, you might need to put more pressure on it, you might need to take some pressure off. So what it's basically doing is a miniature little zigzag.
I gotta do that whole seam, because that would take a while.
Now you can go ahead and put your pressure back to what you...
Oh, I caught my beginning thread. Okay, that's the stitch. Okay.
All right. That's your stretch stitch. Great for mending knits that invariably I have sweaters or something that comes, the knit sweaters, that stitching will come out.
Because you can go like
See how it stretch?
and you won't break your stitch line.
It gives you, I think it puts more thread in that area and gives you a allowance for it to stretch with you.
Yep. Okay.
So, pretty cool. All right, now we're gonna look at balance. We're gonna be in our information window again. We're on page 27. So go into the letter I.
Which stitch do you want?
We are going to go into, we want 20D foot or 20C. If you have yeah. So now you know that with this foot you cannot use your dual feed. We are going to use the double overlock stitch number 10.
Okay.
And sew at about 1.5 inches. Okay. All right. Now stop there and go into your information window and hit your balance. All right. Now you're going to use the lower multifunction stitch length knob, and you're going to adjust the stitch to match the spread stitch. See the sample to the left. So just adjust that so that it looks like the sample on in your book. Okay, that looks about right.
Okay.
Yep. All right. And then stitch another 1.5.
And why is it not doing that? There. Let's try that. And still not doing it.
It hasn't changed here.
It's changing there, but it's not changing here.
All right.
What I do?
Use on the 880 or the 790 only, use the upper multifunction to skew to the left. Maybe that's it. Is it? No, that's just turning it. So because you're using your stitch.
Yeah.
Well,
It's showing it there, but it's not showing it there. Do you have
close.
to close it? Nope.
Huh.
Mine is broken.
You have a broken.
Mine is broken.
All right, let me.
It's doing things, but it's not doing what we're telling it
Right.
to do. It went the other way.
That's stupid.
Okay, here we are.
Shows
Frick
the
and frack.
stitch. It shows this. We do this all the time. No, it shouldn't be like that. Use the lower function knob.
Oh, I fixed it.
Oh, there it did. What'd you do?
I went to plus instead of negative.
Okay.
Okay. Don't go negative like we did. Go
Yeah,
positive.
you gotta go to the, well, and that's what it says, is go to the.
Of course it does.
There it goes.
Guys, you try doing this, man. working 6-7 days a week and then coming in here filming these videos, man. It's hard. It's a hard life. Frick, frack.
Exactly.
Okay, next.
So, why would you use that?
I would not. That's why we had no idea how to do it.
Yeah, no, I've never done that in my life.
Me neither.
Really. The balance function is used to troubleshoot and fine-tune stitches if they do not produce desired results in default settings. That's what your manual says here.
That's exactly what I would use it for if I ever had that problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay.
Let's make the buttonholes. Those are more
let's
fun.
do them. The buttonholes is actually, it's the coolest. Bernina
They're way cool.
has, yep, go ahead.
They're way cool.
Yep. Bernina has the nicest, I think, buttonhole.
By far.
They're known for their buttonholes.
Yeah.
And so we're going to use the automatic.
Why did that not come up?
Gotta follow the manual.
There's,
It's 3A. Is
I know.
What it is.
I can't get the 3 to come up. 2A to 12C. I want a 3.
Right there.
That's a 34.
Okay, go 03.
Okay. I gotta go back. Okay. 03. Mine's broken.
You aren't sewing on it right.
Oh, because we have the stitch. It's a stitch. It's the stitch.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the stitch. Duh. Okay. Can I go home now? 03. Now what?
Okay, we're gonna do something different.
It's not there. It's not. Now it's on a 15. I don't know what.
It doesn't even show 3A.
I know that.
Take it off again. Take the
Well, that's
foot.
because we got an embroidery foot. Oh, God. Okay. You have to go into buttonholes, I bet. No. There you go. You have to actually choose a buttonhole first.
You don't have to do that on the 880.
Well, you got to do it on this one.
All right.
Okay. Seriously, this is a way cool way to make buttonholes.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
Now,
what,
one of
Mom?
the things that you know, the red, I have people ask a lot.
thing.
How do you? Is that what sets it? No, that just is where you can line it up to know where you want to stop. So you would move it down to that place. Now, you cannot make any bigger buttonhole than what that opening is. That is as big as it's going to go. If you want to make a buttonhole that's bigger, then you would use the manual buttonhole foot, which is 3. Okay? So I want you to go in, and the very first thing we're going to set, let's pick out 51, and that's what you're on. And you notice that it's recording. It's right when you're going to sew this, it's recording. This is where you would put a line at the start of your buttonhole and a line at the length that you would want.
So, for example, if you had like the front of a shirt or whatever, you would go and mark, bink, bink,
Right.
bink, bink.
Right, exactly. So well, we'll leave it there. So what I want you to do is make an imaginary, bring that red thing down to where, how long you think that buttonhole?
We'll say
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay, when the needle gets to that red line, you're going to you're not even going to stop sewing. You're just going to come in here and you're going to push it in and out and let it go. And then what it's going to do, so the buttonhole, when you're creating the buttonhole, it's going to sew straight down. You're going to push your reverse button. It's going to go backwards, and then it's going to start sewing straight down again, zigzagging and doing the bar tack. It will stop when that buttonhole is finished. It'll automatically stop.
And because you hit the memory, it knows where to go
Right.
and where to go. Now, my favoriteest way to do this is not that.
I know, but we're going to show them this because it's a different way of doing. Then we're going to show them the favorite way.
We like that way better.
I know, but we're going to do this way first.
Okay, do I have to? All right, okay, here we go.
Now, I will tell you that if you have the hover on and you stop, remember your foot automatically comes up, it resets it. So if I was doing a buttonhole, I would take my hover off.
You guys, every time she uses this machine, she takes the hover off.
I don't like the hover.
And then I come in here and I use it and I expect it to hover and it doesn't hover. And every time that happens, I'm like, Laurie's been here. Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and start sewing. Backing up, and it's going to finish that completely. Now what that has done is it's done. Go ahead and make another one, and with the other one when you make another one, you don't have to hit the reverse because it's already saved that in the memory.